How does it feel, Wayne, to stand on the very stones that ran with your parents' blood? Do you feel sad, full of rage? Or does that outfit help bury your feelings, hiding your true self?
I'm a little behind on this one because of all the news coming out and some other stuff I wanted to cover with both the Joker and the new Batman Arkham game, but one of my favorite games ever, Batman Arkham City, one of the games that really put the superhero genre of video game on the map for a lot of people in the current age. Because it is important to remember a lot of superhero games before this, not all, but a lot, were fairly mediocre before the Arkham series. This game is now 8 years old. As of October 18th, so about 3 days ago when recording this, the game turned 8. It came out in 2011, and I just wanted to do a little short retrospective on the game. It's not going to be super in-depth, but I wanted to look at what made this game so special to me and kind of where I was when it came out. So, when this game came out, I was a sophomore in high school. I was actually hanging out with T sometimes. We weren't super close friends yet. If you don't know who that is, please check out our Screens and Dreams podcast and the occasional video where he shows up in it. He really helps me out a lot with the channel, and I appreciate the heck out of him. But we were hanging out some at the time. We actually had a study hall together, and Arkham is the game that really made us become friends. Now, before this, we had maybe hung out outside of school one time that I can remember, and in school some. We didn't think we had a lot in common, but he was a nice guy, he liked me, so we just talked a lot. And once we had this study hall together, and I recognized him, I said, hey man, come over, sit by me. We sat in this corner between two bookshelves in the library of this dark old Christian school that we both went to, and we would sit on our laptops. And I remember the one day where they dropped the trailer for Arkham City, and we watched it together, and I was just blown away. And he had actually previously played through Arkham Asylum, and I had not yet. And he highly recommended it to me, and I played it. I fell in love with this series, and the rest is history. So this game really means a lot to me for a few reasons. One, it helped me really connect with and become good friends with someone who's one of my best friends now to this day, 8 years later. So I definitely have Arkham City to thank for that. Another thing that it did that was really special was actually incorporate a lot of the A-listers of Batman's rogues gallery into a cohesive narrative. Most things that had tried to do that in the visual medium before this point had a rough time. Now, Asylum does it, but it focuses most obviously on the Joker, and while the Joker does play a central role in this game, there's plenty of screen time for other people, whether they're minor characters or major characters, and everybody does sort of feel like a threat in this game. Just because Joker's out there doesn't mean Penguin or Two-Face feel like they're a nothing or a nobody. There's also several other characters incorporated in this game, like Hush, who was done very well and sadly not done as well in Arkham Knight, and even Zsasz. Victor Zsasz came back. And this game has been criticized for certain things actually, especially in the last few years, like an overabundance of villains, which I do see the point on that. However, I think most of them were done fairly well in Arkham City. I think you can make the argument that in Knight, especially, and this is coming from someone who still loves Knight as a game, there is a little bit too much back-burnering of characters, but City didn't feel that way to me. I never got the impression that everybody was being back-burnered just for the Joker. As much as I do love this game to death, I love the costume design, I love the narrative, I love how Hugo Strange is used as a villain, and I love this interpretation of Batman. There were a few things that I wasn't a fan of, but it wasn't really about this game, it was more about trend setting. Now, I wasn't a fan with how collectibles were done in this game. I actually like the Riddler trophies okay in this game. I think they were done best in Asylum because there was a better balance of riddles and trophies, and I also thought that it was less overwhelming to the player. But what really bothered me about the Riddler trophies was it set a trend for this series where they just kept having to updo the last game in the series. So with Origins, it almost feels like they're trying to overdo it past City, and then Knight really drags that out. And not only does Knight have the audacity to make just way too many Riddler trophies, but it makes a majority of them, and maybe it's not a majority, but it really felt like it, reliant on the Batmobile. Another thing that this game was criticized for actually on coming out was not including the Batmobile, which I would assume in hindsight, after people played Night, is a comment they would probably take back, considering no one really liked the Batmobile in that. I enjoyed it in Night. I thought that it was too much in the game, but that's neither here nor there and is a sidetrack. Overall, I just wanted to say that this game series does mean a lot to me. I know this video was more rambly. There was literally no script in it. I just talked off the top of my head about what I was thinking, and I wanted to talk about how I met one of my best friends through this series. And the games are so special to me. I definitely want to keep making content about them and about Batman, and I hope you're also open to me taking and making content about a few other things as well. I want to keep making content with DC Comics related stuff. Eventually I might branch out a little more to some Marvel stuff. I'm also a huge fan of Spider-Man, but I definitely want to build up the subscriber base and make sure you guys are on board with the type of content I'm putting out. I am not perfect with any of this. I want to remind you of that. There's certain things that I will not know that I need to actually learn and be educated on. So I do appreciate when you guys point out in the comments, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone be a jerk about this. You're pretty much always nice about it if I miss something. So if I think, if I say something about, let's say Copperhead, right? And I somehow forget Copperhead was in Origins. Somehow, let's just say I had a brain slip. And someone nicely points out to me, hey man, you got to remember this was in Origins. Or if you can make a case for the canonicity of a Arkham comic that something was in, because there's been back and forth on which Arkham comics are canon and which aren't. Stuff like that I do actually appreciate in the comments. I appreciate constructive criticism and feedback from all of you, and I appreciate you helping me keep on track and learn more about these characters and these games, because they mean a lot to me. I will never be perfect, but I definitely want to learn more every day and be able to bring you content that makes sense, is educated, and where I'm not talking out of my backside and not making any sense. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you have suggestions for videos? Are there things that you would recommend that I do going forward? How does Arkham mean so much to you? What makes Arkham special to you that you are so drawn to this series and you care so much about it? Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. I love you guys so much. You've made me feel amazing the past couple weeks with all your responses, and honestly, I appreciate you. If I ever stop appreciating you, like some YouTubers, when they start to get a little bigger, I need you to kind of, kick my butt, get me back on track, because you guys are the reason that I am able to make content, and I love you for it. Thank you. Have a great and awesome day.